Welcome to Audiobook 365 Stories.
There were 2 or 3 things I wanted to learn. I did not care about mysteries, so I started asking questions. Took me 2 weeks to find out what women carry in dress suitcases. Then, I began to ask why a mattress is made in 2 parts. At first, people thought my question was strange because it sounded like a riddle. Finally, someone told me that mattresses are made this way to make it easier for women to make the beds. I was silly and kept asking, why are the 2 parts not the same size? After that, people avoided me. The third thing I wanted to know was about a person called a man about town. This person was not clear in my mind. I needed to imagine him clearly to understand. For example, I have a clear picture of a man named John Doe. He has light blue eyes, wears a brown vest and a shiny black coat, and always stands in the sun chewing something. He opens and closes his pocket knife with his thumb. But when I thought about a man about town, my mind was blank. I imagined he had a fake smile and wore fake cuffs, but that was all. So, I asked a newspaper reporter about him. The reporter said, "A man about town is a mix between a man who likes parties and a man who goes to clubs. He is not exactly one or the other. You see him at fancy events and also at private boxing matches. He does not belong to big clubs or small local groups. He is everywhere something is happening. He wears nice clothes every night, knows the right people, and calls waiters and police officers by their first names. Usually, he is alone or with one other man." The reporter left, and I walked around to find more answers. By then, the many lights on Broadway were on. People walked past me. Diners, shop girls, actors, rich people, poor people, and many others, but I did not care about them. I knew them already. I wanted to find a man about town. I felt it was important to understand him. Let me pause for a moment. Imagine a family reading the Sunday newspaper. The father looks at a picture of a young woman exercising near a window. The mother is trying to fill in the missing letters of a word puzzle. The older girls are reading financial news because a young man told them about stocks. The 18-year-old son, Willie, reads an article about sewing because he wants to win a sewing prize at school. Grandma holds onto the funny pages for hours, and the baby tries to read about real estate. I went into a cafe and asked the bartender, "What does the term, a man about town, mean?" The bartender said, "It's a man who knows the city well. He is always out late at night visiting different places. He is a smart, social man who knows everyone." I thanked him and left. Outside, a Salvation Army woman shook her collection box near me. I asked her, "Do you meet someone called a man about town in your daily work?" She smiled gently and said, "Yes, I think I know who you mean. We see them at the same places every night. They are always loyal to their lifestyle. We try to take a little of their money to help with the Lord's work. She shook her box again, and I gave her a coin. In front of a bright, fancy hotel, I saw a friend of mine. He is a critic and was getting out of a cab. He looked like he had some free time, so I asked him my question. I knew he would answer carefully. There is a type of man called a man about town in New York, he said. I know the term well, but no one has ever asked me to explain it before. It's not easy to describe. I think he is a man who has a serious case of wanting to see and know everything in the city. His day starts at 6 p.m. He always dresses nicely and follows all the rules of good manners. But he is very curious and goes to places he doesn't belong. He is chased after fun and excitement all over the city. He goes from one place to another, from small bars to fancy roof gardens, from Hester Street to Harlem. Because of him, even the most traditional places now cut their spaghetti with a knife. He is always looking for something new. He is curious, bold, and always present. Special carriages and expensive cigars seem to be made just for him. You can also blame him for the loud music at dinner. There aren't many men like him, but his influence is everywhere. Wine cellars and fashion models follow where he goes. The orchestra plays silly songs for him instead of classical music. He visits all the popular spots every night. While you and I go out once a week, he goes every night. When a cigar shop is raided by the police, he just winks at the officer and walks away without trouble. Meanwhile, you and I have to explain who we are and where we live to the police. My friend stopped to catch his breath, so I quickly spoke up. You have described him perfectly, I said, but I need to meet one in person. I want to see a man about town face to face. Where can I find him? How will I know it's him? My friend didn't seem to hear me. He kept talking, even though his cab driver was waiting for him to pay. He is like pure curiosity and boldness in one person. He loves new experiences. And when he has seen everything in one place, he moves on to another with endless energy. Excuse me, I said, cutting him off. Can you show me one of these men? I want to study him. I will look all over New York until I find one. He must be somewhere on Broadway. I am about to eat dinner here, my friend said. Come inside with me. If there's a man about town here, I will point him out. I know most of the people who eat here regularly. I am not eating yet, I replied. Thank you, but I will keep looking. I will find my man about town tonight. Even if I have to search all of New York from top to bottom. I left the hotel and walked down Broadway. Searching for this type of man made the city feel more exciting. I was happy to be in a big, lively city. I felt proud to be part of its beauty, fun, and fame. As I crossed the street, I heard a buzzing sound like a bee. Suddenly, I felt like I was flying, and everything went blank. When I woke up, I smelled gasoline. I asked out loud, "Is it gone yet?" A hospital nurse touched my forehead with her hand. Her hand wasn't soft, but my forehead wasn't hot either. A young doctor came over, smiled, and handed me a newspaper. "Do you want to see how it happened?" he asked with a cheerful voice. I read the article. The headlines started from where I heard the buzzing sound. The article ended with these words: Bellevue Hospital, where they said his injuries were not serious. He appeared to be a typical man about town,